Right, Saturday morning. Bit of a cool one last night. We didn't get a frost here. It was down to about 4. Tonight, possibly down to 2 or 3. So maybe a very slight chance of a light frost. We've got down the side open, if you like, to the house. Still got the red hot pokers for a bit of late autumn colour. So we are in November, so they're still knocking out flowers. The ones out the front are too. It's a bit messy in the garden, still sort of sorting things out. So this is going to be a video just generally on just a couple of bits that are still looking good and some that are not looking so good. So we got down to about 6 degrees in the hothouse last night, so it is still keeping a couple of degrees above the outside temperature, so that's good. Did buy a couple of hanging baskets, not for the half dead plants, but for the actual hanging basket itself. So these were 50p. So I'm going to have a couple of, obviously clear out them plants, and come next year I'll have a couple of hanging baskets in the hothouse with some sort of tropical plants. Not made my mind up yet, maybe some sort of sweet potato vine or something similar. So we have still got some flowers hanging on. Not quite sure what these are, but they're sort of a dainty pink. Still got the remnants of some of the impatiens, which are still got some flowers on. Cannas still got flower buds on them, so it depends on that, if we do get frost or not, whether that'll just sort of finish them off. The Tetrapanax is still looking good. Bit wind battered, but still looking quite nice. Really big leaves on that. So that's made a good comeback this year. So that totally died down to the ground, and quite a thick trunk come on that now. It is, I don't know, maybe 3 foot trunk, but we are going to move that next year. So we are a bit windswept because of the storms we've had. A couple of storms in the last that's a week or so ago now, but so some of the bananas have been shredded up a bit, looking a bit worse for wear, but it's that time of year, nothing's going to look too fantastic. Didn't really talk about this one this year. So this is the little seedling that I plucked out of the tree ferns when I got them, I don't know, 3 years ago, and it was just a tiny little leaf. And I always say, someone did tell me the name of them, but I forgot. So it is like an albizia or mimosa type foliage, sort of quite nice and dainty, but sort of tropical looking. The main trunk, after that harsh winter we had last year, or last winter, that killed the whole tree. As far as I was aware, that sort of was dead. And if we go in here, we can see sort of the trunk is all brown, and we've just got a little bit of a lighter brown towards the bottom where it's sort of survived. And here from that we've got all these branches, and yeah, so in one season it's bounced back to well over 6 foot, so that's done quite well. So this was the area I did have the palm grass, so I've dug all that out. I mean, it survived last year, so it survives last year, it survived any winter really in the garden where I am on the east coast, Suffolk. But I dug it out because that was in the wrong position basically, so I managed to get about 4 or 5 pots you know, good 2 litre pots full of that. So I'm gonna probably have a couple in different areas of the garden, and I'll probably put some in my spring shop. I do sell a lot of plants in the springtime and early summer, just locally on Facebook. This one I've sort of overlooked as well quite a bit. So this is, I always call it a Torbay Dazzler, but I think I bought it just as a variegated cord line. Really quite nice variegation on that. Lots of pinstripes, and then you've got the sort of reddy brown centre. So that survived last winter and it's looking quite good. The ricinus, obviously we've had some blow down, but I'm not going to cut it back because I'm still waiting for the seeds to mature. So we have got, when they sort of turn a more of a brown colour like this, we're getting to the point where we could collect the seeds from them. But yeah, still very green at the minute, so we've just got the one brown, so we'll let that, give that a chance to dry out a bit. So I am going to cut this Paulownia back. It's lost all its leaves now. The flowers have gone over, and I'm wondering if I can collect the seeds from that. It didn't have many flowers, it's only a small tree, but so before I cut it back, I'm going to let that have a chance for the seeds to mature a bit on that. Yes, things are still looking okay, considering. I've got a nice variegated ginger there, which, this is not a giant ginger by any means, it's only about 3 foot, but it's just nice variegation on that. And we've got the Xanthodecia, which is still looking good at the moment, still pushing out new leaves. So again, I really need to sort of deadhead these cannas to keep the flowers going. So we have still got some flowers out and some still to come. But yeah, with the clear patch of the leaves really do start to fade this time of year. So we've got some that have still got quite a nice strong colour on them, and some that are fading out a little bit. But so what I tend to do, I know a lot of people will say divide them in the spring, but I am going to dig some up over the weekend at some point and thin them out, because they're getting quite a congested clump there. So it just started off with one plant either side and sort of filled in the whole area. So I'm going to take at least 50% of that out, pot it up, stick it in the greenhouse over winter, and then again, free plants, you can distribute them around the garden or give them away, flog them, whatever you choose to do. Yeah, so it's, like I say, we had a cold night. The sun's been out, sort of in and out all day. It's still quite warm with the sun out. I have got a few unsightly things kicking about, so I'm just playing about with ideas at the moment with this. It's part of the old polytunnel that I got last year. So I used some of it. Well, basically what you see there, I've got exactly the same. So it's just like a portion of it, like a third of the polytunnel frame. So I've got my arid bed covered down there. So that's sort of held up to the wind, surprisingly. And we did a sort of 60 mile per hour gusts, and that has held up, so that's quite good. But what I'm thinking with this one is, and I just put it together last weekend just to see what sort of dimensions we're playing with and what I'm going to do. So it's, you know, a fairly sturdy frame, and I've said before about this Washingtonia where I tend to get a lot of damage on this every winter. That survives, but it never looks good in the spring. So I really like to keep the leaves looking good this year. So yeah, you see they're quite nice big leaves on these, and I'd like to keep them rather than start afresh every year. So that frame, this frame here, will go nicely over the Washingtonia, and that'll probably go over the one of the bananas there. We've got a Musa Baju, and we've got, you know, some more of the tender cord lines down here, just small ones. Southern Splendor and the Red Star. So the frame will go over the Washingtonia primarily, but that'll also help to protect some of the smaller, more tender plants as well. And I don't know what I'm going to do with that, the frame. I've got a big fleece bag which would just go over the top just to stop the frost dropping down onto the palm leaves, or I might just use some of the polytunnel cover and cut it to size around the frame, just so it's open, but just, you know, just around the top half of the frame, just to give it a little bit of protection from the frosts. But, so that's just my way of thinking, you know, whatever you got spare in the garden, you know, just make use of it really. So rather than that, the old frame sitting there, I'm gonna put it to use in some way or another. Yeah, so it's, as we can see, it's a very still day. There's no wind whatsoever, so we've got the flag from a couple of doors down, and it's pretty static, so it is a very still day. Did notice that a lot of the cord line seeds are starting to drop, and you can see in the crown of the tree fern here all them little white seeds from the cord line. And obviously we've got a couple that have germinated from last year, so I did mention that in the video beginning of the year. I was going to pluck them out, and I ain't got round to doing it, so I'll leave them for now and pluck them out maybe next year. Yeah, so the trees at the back are literally just holding on to the foliage. Obviously changing colour, but not quite. Even with the winds we had, the storms are still holding on. But it's a good windbreak for me in the back garden here. So the eucalyptus at the back there, let's see if I can get in a bit closer. So this is a standard gunny eye, which has got some nice patterns on the trunk now. I did cut that back last year, and this really took off again, so I think come spring I'm going to have to cut that back again. I know it's hard to see, but don't really want that taking over the whole place. I mean, it's bad enough with the big Canariensis here. I mean, it's, you know, just for the size of it, it's one of my favourite palms in the garden, but that is sort of dominating the corner, and you don't really see the rest of the plants behind it. I mean, we've got quite a big red star there, which sort of gets lost behind, and obviously we've got the big Trachycarpus as well, which from the end of the garden you don't see, but there you go. But no, things have done well. This, I said it before, I'll say it again, this Fatsia, camouflage Fatsia, has done really well. This is a very small potted plant when I put it in spring, and that's quadrupled in size. It's just done really well, that has surprised me, because I've had in other parts of the garden various Fatsias, and they've grown nowhere near as quick as this one, so I am surprised. You know, just due to the fact that, yeah, they like a shade, but they like more of a damp shade, I'd say. And with all the bigger palms and the eucalyptus, I kind of thought, well, maybe that's going to be a bit dry there with all the competing with all the other plants, and the bamboo as well, obviously, sucking up all that moisture, that might struggle. But I suppose the saving grace to that is the shed's sort of tucked tucked at the back of the garden here. Excuse all the rubbish. And obviously the guttering, I've just got open guttering at the end, and it just drips down into this corner, so it does keep it moister than it would be, I guess. And just a reminder that we've got quite a big clump of Aspidistris there, the cast iron plant, which has been out for, I don't know, 3 or 4 years, and never been phased by the cold. It is obviously under canopy, but yeah, that's done quite well. So let's have a look at another palm. So we've got the Chamaedorea radicalis, or hardy parlour palm. So this is the cluster. Nice little understory palm, fairly hardy. So I'm gonna see what happens with that one over winter. It is again under the canopy of all this jungle foliage here, so hopefully that'll have a good sort of microclimate. And it does, with the sun so low this time of year, it does get the sun, so if we do get a frost, that'll soon thaw out. But I think, being this is the first winter I've had it, I will put a fleece bag over it if it gets sort of below -2 or 3, just to play it on the safe side. Yeah, so that is what the garden's sort of looking like. Like I say, nothing's going to be looking perfect this time of year. The grapevine I need to sort out. It's gone mental again this year, and it's sort of starting to lose its leaves, and I will shape that for next year, because that's really sort of come off the fence and started to grow into a lot of plants, so I need to get that under control. So we've got the little raised area here behind the centre bed with the palms. So we had all the bananas in this, so I've obviously dug them out now. Nothing to gain by leaving them in at this point when we've got a chance of frost. So we had 2 Enset Morellii and Enset Heniba in there, and we had a Golden Lotus, which are all potted up now, and I've got them in the greenhouse just drying out a bit before I decide what to do with them over winter. I'll probably just put them in the conservatory, to be fair, which will get down to, don't get below 4 degrees, sort of around 4 to 8 degrees. The conservatory doesn't really get sun in winter, so it doesn't heat up. Sun's too low, and it's at the back of the house. So anyway, so yeah, we've got this area here, which I sort of forgot about all the little plants that are in here. So we did have some small cannas and various bits, and then obviously we've still got the stump from the Powergebaea Torreillii, which was open all summer, even though that's totally smothered by bananas obviously in here, but the banana plants. But I've put the cloche back on for winter, just in case there's any chance that might come back, which in reality that's as dead as a dodo. But I can't bring myself to dig it up just yet, so we'll wait till spring. If nothing happens, then we'll dig it out, and then we've got the big queen palm to put in here next year, unless I find something else I like the look of. Anyway, so yeah, that is it. That is what the garden's looking like. Things are starting to die back a bit. Still got some dahlia action there. Some of the persicarias are looking a bit worse for wear, starting to change the leaf colour. We'll finish up on the Nico palm. There's a Yorkshire, is it Yorkshire Jason's from? He done a video on these, he bought one, and yeah, good choice, because it is a fantastic palm. Like I say, we're not sure how hardy these are going to be. I know I've had people mention that they're, you know, obviously Cornwall or in certain parts of the UK, they've been growing for years, but I think that's the exception to the rule, but we're going to try it outside underneath a bit of shelter obviously here, and again on the very cold nights we'll get some fleece around that and hopefully that'll survive. So yeah, since I've had it has pushed out a nice new leaf there, and these are very, very slow grow. You know, they don't, yeah, I think you can be lucky to get a couple of leaves out of these a year. They're going to be slow growers, but it's still just something very different to your sort of normal palms you'd see in the UK. Right, so we'll leave it there for now. So just a little bit of a random look at things through updates. So actually, before I do round up this video, we'll just it's the first year I think I've had the Solomon seal and they've actually got to this point. I know they're very yellow now, but normally they get absolutely decimated by caterpillars, and I've never had them to the point where they've still got leaves at this time of year. So all the yellow leaves you're seeing there are the Solomon seal, which normally by midsummer are gone due to all the pests. Yeah, so Schefflera, that's done quite well. Little Taiwaniana I brought last spring. So I had it potted last year, and I think I put it in the ground late summer last year, if I remember correctly. And yeah, it's done quite well. Probably put on about a foot of growth, and just loads of growth. Small ones come out the bottom as well. Right, I could go on all day, but I'm sure it's getting a bit long, this video now, so we'll wind it up there. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you on the next one.